The upcoming FIFA World Cup shaping up to be the most lucrative in history, with FIFA expecting $11 billion in revenue from an expanded 48-team, 104-match tournament that is taking place across North America.
That's right, but what are the true benefits of hosting the World Cup for the U.S.? The average citizen is expected to shoulder the burden of traffic, security, and other disruptions, with many Americans not even able to afford the tickets to the games. We spoke with Bloomberg opinion columnist Adam Minter to discuss if he thought there were real benefits to hosting the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
Right now, the best we can say is that the jury's kind of out on this. If we just look at one of the benefits that everybody touted, tourism benefit, the numbers are running behind. Hoteliers are saying that the forecast, they're 80% behind the forecasted room occupancy rates that they were given months ago. That's not good. Airbnbs are facing the same situation. If the tourists aren't coming, the economic projections surrounding what the tourists were supposed to spend beyond just the hotels aren't going to come true either. So at least on the economic development side, it's not there.
Can you talk about the whole concept behind, why host cities do this? I mean, there's the infrastructure boost, right? There's the reason they can do it is because they want to improve their image, right? So for the U.S., I mean, we have the infrastructure, we have the tourism industry, we've built up soccer. Soccer is not like how it used to be. It's really become something big here. I don't understand what the benefit is. Is it for small businesses? They do a lot of these different, festivals, watch parties, things like that.
Right. I mean, that was always the implicit bargain, as you said. There's infrastructure, there's an image boost. And when those things are all taken care of, when the U.S. already has its own domestic soccer league with Lionel Messi, what's left? It's accessibility. That means, regular folks, families can go to the matches in theory. And if you can't get a ticket to the match because it's unaffordable, because, some of these tickets, like to the opening U.S. match against Paraguay, they're starting at around $1,900 per ticket. If you can't do that, you can at least go to a fan festival, in which is the idea. FIFA asked the host cities to set up these big festivals where anybody can come and watch a match with everybody else. But even those aren't quite living up to the accessibility promises. In a lot of places, they may be free. Some of the cities offer them for free. But then, of course, they've got the premium seating. And some of that premium seating at the free fan fest starts around $200. And even the free fan fest, for example, in Los Angeles, it's a $10 admission fee. So this promise that this is sort of the people's festival, the people's tournament, isn't really turning out to be the people's tournament. It's not accessible to everybody else. And even that side of the bargain isn't coming true.
Well, that's what I want to go back to what you were talking about at the beginning about, Airbnb bookings are down, the hotel bookings aren't where they need to be. Do we know why? Is it a combination of how much this is costing in a time when a lot of people, not just in the U.S., but around the world, are feeling the economic squeeze? There's also this visa issue. It's not a time when a lot of people from some of these countries where their teams are playing are going to either be able to get a visa or might be nervous about getting that visa and traveling in and out of security in the U.S., just given the uncertainty of immigration right now. How much are those factors weighing in?
Those are factors, and another factor that we can't talk enough about really is simply the price of tickets.
Yeah.
One of the things you're seeing is the fan groups, the supporter groups in places like Europe, they're complaining that they can't afford to fly to the U.S., stay in a hotel, and above all, buy a ticket into a match because, they can be thousands of dollars, and FIFA is controlling the supply. They're controlling parts of the secondhand market. So that makes it very hard for, these folks who, say, live in Ireland or the UK or Germany or wherever it is, this would be their once every 4-year big shebang trip to afford it. They can't. So you're also losing that. And by losing that, from a U.S. perspective, again, you're losing tourists and you're losing the image boost. The opportunity for these folks, middle-class folks who are, on a splurge, coming to your country and saying, hey, this isn't so bad. This isn't what we've been reading about. Is actually a friendly reception. So again, it's another sort of broken part of the bargain, and it's got that international component to it.
I'm wondering, why are the prices so much higher this time around? We have some sound from the Atlanta mayor talking about this.
We're ready from a safety and security perspective, from making sure that people can get around, get through, and get to the games and matches. But we also wanted the community to benefit. Everybody can't afford those expensive tickets. Everybody can't go to the match every day, but can they go to a fan fest? Can they go to a watch party? Can they get some cultural exchanges with the people that are going to be coming here? Can our small businesses thrive? So that's why I wanted it to be with the community and not to the community.
So that hits on what you were just talking about. Is there a reason the tickets are so much more this time around?
Yeah, FIFA wants to make a lot of money off this tournament. They've been very
okay, there we go.
They've been very upfront. They control the ticket pricing, not the local organizers, not the local governments. FIFA does, and they've been very upfront that the U.S. is the world's largest sports and entertainment market, and they are coming to take advantage of that. And they will also at the same time make the argument we're just pricing things where the market is, and there's a market for people willing to pay thousands of dollars for a ticket. We're seeing it with the NBA Finals. We've seen it with the Super Bowl. We see it with these mega events when they come to the U.S. So their argument is we're just trying to we're helpless. We're only playing with the market.
Well, I have to think, because this kind of brings up, we host FIFA World Cup, but we've also hosted the Olympics. So what's the difference between, let's say, the U.S. hosting the Olympics versus hosting the World Cup, let's say, benefit-wise?
Yeah, I don't think that there is much of one at this point. I mean, with Los Angeles, which is going to have our next Olympics, and with Salt Lake City, which will have the next Winter Olympics, both of them were chosen precisely because they already have the infrastructure in place. So there's not going to be a real infrastructure benefit to those cities. The image benefit, the U.S. is already a sports destination. So then it becomes the same, argument again. Is there an economic benefit? And one of the things that study after study shows is, regardless of what these economic projections that we always see with these mega events, those numbers are never met. Oftentimes what happens is, sure, you may get an influx of tourists, but that just means that the tourists who were going to come at that time anyway aren't coming, and it all relatively balances out in the end. So what are you going to do? You're going to, at least in theory, make these events accessible. And if you've tried to get, Los Angeles 28 Olympics tickets, like I have, I was in, the lottery or whatever it was, they're extremely expensive. When I finally got in the door and saw what the prices were, I said, I think I'm going to hold off on this. So this is a familiar dynamic.
All right, we'll have to see how crowded those stadiums are and who's in those very, very expensive seats. Adam Minter, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.